George, speaking of Saturday, back on Saturday here, before we get the speech that I've always loved to hear from James about this being the equivalent of the sixth grade graduation, and anything that we can take out of Saturday's festivities besides you guys having a good time.
Yeah, look, you're not going to find out everything you want to know about the team, but there are a ton of things you can glean. Again, like I said, it's not an actual game. It's more of a glorified practice, and we got access to it the way they run it. The things that I think you can really learn is kind of how some of these true freshmen that early enrolled, how far along they have. We're going to get to see DJU play, so we're going to get to see some of that timing and accuracy and where he's at within picking up that offense. There's going to be a ton of things to take. It's not you're not going to damn anybody's career or say they're going to be an All-American guaranteed out of this game, but there's plenty to look forward to. It really stinks, like I mentioned earlier, that Luke and Brock aren't going to be there. That was something that we were really going to be able to learn, where they were in their development. But there's a ton. I'm more interested to hear what the guys have to say on this. So I really appreciate it and curious what they have.
James, give it to us.
I mean, you said it perfectly, man. I mean, you'll see some it'll be situational things. Really, the number one key is to try to get out of this thing without any injuries. And where jobs are won in the spring are during the scrimmages, and it's why I don't while it's some jokes, there are things that you will be able to see. You can't judge effort. You can judge if guys are in the proper places. You can judge if somebody's disruptive. Those are the things. Even when I looked at the Miami spring game and the Florida spring game, I was judging not the play calling, but even your vanilla stuff is still should look like you're a D1 program. You got guys that aren't in that place. So are there DBs and the wide receivers, competing in the few routes that they're running? Those are the things that I want to see, and also energy. For Florida State, it's not a true game. Are the guys smiling? Are they running around? Are they bouncing around? I'll be on the sideline probably for the first part of it. Then I'm gonna go get me some food in the Champions Club more than likely. So again, that's why I like going to see practice. I'll be at the Thursday practice. Then I'll also be at the Friday practice while we do some alumni things that they want us to do. So I just, does DJU have a target? Do we see a big bomb? Can we see the arm? Can you see it? Does the arm look live? Is there more push on the offensive line? That's kind of really what it all comes down to. Outside of that, it'll just be a fun little outing for the guys to move around and get after it.
For those people watching, whether it's live or watch the record, how can they take advantage of what you guys have available in lot number 5, correct?
Yep. Yes, sir. Lot 5 under the big oak tree. We'll have the 6th one. This is Mike's year 5. Yep. Yeah, so this is the 6th one we've done in 7 years because obviously we didn't do one for COVID. We'll be out there. You can still get tickets. You can purchase it with cash or Cash App day of. It's $40. The money goes toward MFTK Foundation, and I'll be having my book bag drive up here coming soon. So you'll be able to see those different things and all the stuff that we do in the community. But it's really just to have people have a good time. I'm really going to make this campaign, especially during this year and even previous years. One of the coolest things if I would have known about tailgates before I played football, I probably would have never played football. Because eating good food, fellowship it feels like, I don't know how much everybody else does family reunions, but my family did family reunions, and you go out, fellowship over bread, you meet cousins that you haven't seen in a year or 2 years, and that's kind of like what football season is, especially when they bring their kids. You can kind of start seeing the kids grow a little bit, and you become cool with the kids. So that's kind of the big thing that I want to the fans to do. Not just come to my tailgate, come to anybody's tailgate. If you can't get in the game, make the city so live that recruits want to be a part of it, or these guys remember it. I saw me and my son was watching Swamp Donkeys or whatever the University of Florida thing was with Urban Meyer. And one of the things that my son was listening to and those guys kept bringing up was not just the camaraderie, but how the game day atmosphere looked when they were winning. And I think I can remember that, and I can relate to that as it was I was at Florida State. So like that game day atmosphere makes people want to come to your school and participate there. So I think as a fan base, that's one thing we can do.
Folks, we get together every Wednesday here at the Voice of College Football with these three. We got Big Game James Coleman, Den Media Group. You see it on the banner right there. And we've got Chris Frazier, Spear Addicts. Of course, it's every Sunday at 4.
Monday and Thursday.
Monday and Thursday. Yeah, Monday and Thursday at 8.
Yep.
Monday and Thursday at 8 with Chris on Spear Addicts. George with the Renegade Report. What's going on at the Renegade Report, George?
Man, we have been busy. We had a couple big shows. We went over the court case on Friday with Doug Rohan and our guy Vince from Garnet Knoll. Then Sunday, we had Chris and James on and really got into the portal and what, position by position, what's going on there. Yesterday, we had Niall Lawrence Stample on, so it's been really great. We're going to be in Tallahassee for Friday's episode, so me and Jen will be coming live from Tallahassee. We're going to try to do something fun with that. So everybody just get over there and make sure you subscribe at the Renegade Report and be part of it. We're going to be at the tailgate, of course, helping Chris and James and CJ and those guys. So we hope to see everybody out there this weekend and some fun content coming from the spring game for sure.
When James mentions Urban Meyer, it reminds me of two things. I wish I had these two lists in front of me because the Ohio State spring game, and this is another thing Florida State can be anticipating and be looking forward to in joining the Big Ten, is that Ohio State was on Fox, its spring game, this past Saturday, and Michigan's on at noon this Saturday. That's what happens in that conference. The other thing is, and I tried to find the list, but they're not online. Urban Meyer was presenting two lists during the spring game. What separates good teams from championship teams? And he had a list of intangibles. He had a list of tangibles. And wasn't anything too surprising, but at the same time, I wish I could come up with that list. Wanted to throw that by you three. There was a lot of leadership involvement, championship, playing in the clutch and, leadership and toughness and those sorts of things on the intangibles list. And the tangible list was pretty tied to talent, of course, and offensive line being very important, and a quarterback who can make plays with his legs and various things. One thing that he had on the intangibles list was the coaching staff, not just the head coach, but the entire coaching staff. Chris, we'll start with you just in regards to your evaluation of this coaching staff compared to, previous staffs, maybe when Norvell got here, or some of Jimbo and Willie Taggart's staffs.
Well, I'll say what I like about Mike Norvell. I'm not going to say that he got it from anyone in particular because I don't know. But he's done this even back at Memphis. He has it's an expected response and a neglect to respond list. There's exceptions nowhere. The expectation is what it is. The standard's still the standard. So he has this list of how they respond to everything. That's his staff. That's the team. That's himself. It's even how Florida State, anyone around him, the team management group, the anyone that's involved with going and getting water for the team, it doesn't matter. He has expectations for everyone because the standard of doing what they're supposed to do is the standard. So getting to peek at that every once in a while, based off of a really good, we'll just say Michael offers the best. That's about all I can say. But my response to how that, it's been played out over the the tenure of 4 years going into the fifth with Mike Norvell. It's never changed. I mean, he even recruits the same way. Like a lot of people are like, man, we could have got this 5-star. Mike says he don't meet the expectation of response. He doesn't respond to this test well, or he didn't respond to any of this well. So Mike's one of those guys that are testing you even when you do not realize you're being tested. It's all based on even the way he may approach you, the way he may speak, the way that he might have someone else do it. So it's how you respond to everything. If you're prepared for the test to be what he says, always be prepared so you don't have to be. A lot of people say it, but he says it based off it's always a test. I'm always testing everyone to get that 1% better out of you each day. And that's in more ways than just the practice field. That's your response as a young man. That's your response as a professional. That's your response as a human being in general. So I don't know that a lot of coaches don't do this. I just know what I've got to see. So I can't speak on what Urban Meyer did. I think it's a great, formality to have. I mean, but I don't know exactly what, Urban did. I know I've talked to a lot of Florida Gator players that were on that team, and they said that's just not the real story. And I'm not here to call either side a liar, but like the Percy Harvins and the Tim Tebow's and the Harrisons and all them saying, "Hey man, y'all want to know the true story?" And there's someone that's supposedly making that production. I'm more interested in that one than the watered down Netflix part. So I would call that one the lot lizards. So it is what it is. I have no love for Urban Meyer, the Florida Gators, or any of them. But if you're going to tell the story, at least tell the truth. So if it wasn't true, shame on them. Glad they made some money, whatever. They need it.
James, any thoughts about this coaching staff compared to previous coaching staffs here beyond the head coach?
I mean, obviously they're effective at getting things done, and they got a chance to build the culture that they wanted to. So I'm happy. You know, it's a little bit different, but a different time. A little bit different to Jimbo's staff because we get a chance to kind of get to know more of the coaches. With Jimbo's staff, we didn't really get motivated. Like we didn't get a lot. Like so, you didn't know much of the offensive staff. You knew Dawsey because again, former wide receiver at Florida State, but and then we kind of cycle through D coordinators. The only thing that was similar is a lot of people didn't like Charles Kelly, much like for whatever reason they didn't like Adam Fuller when he first started. But now people are feeling the full effects of the Fuller D, so we like that. But him allowing his coaches to speak a little bit more gives us like we kind of, as a fan base, especially when you're winning as a fan base, you kind of grow attached to it. So it is. I mean, that's kind of what I like more. I think a lot of us like the idea of tag, and we wanted tag to be great. Maybe he needed more time. Maybe he did. He wasn't effective in the years that he was here. So now we're grateful that Mike is doing his thing and continuing to grow and progress. So all for it.
George, anything on the coaching staff that you like?
Yeah, man, I love all kind of things about the staff. I think the kind of difference maybe in towards the end of Bobby's and Jimbo Fisher's career, the stability, the continuity, James alluded to a little bit. I mean, you're year 5 and you've lost a couple guys. You lost Dilly and promoted within. You promoted Tokars up to quarterback coach. But yeah, the continuity's been amazing. And as far as the difference, this is the first coach we've had. I love Bobby. I love Jimbo. Not taking anything from him. He's really one of these guys who does truly more with less. Like with his offensive scheme, like that whole thing of scheming guys open and stuff. You saw with Florida State them switch to kind of that run and throw the ball down the field with Charlie Ward, and it kind of happened naturally, and they went with it. But I do think Mike Norvell is pretty unique to everything we've had. But if I was going to compare him to previous coaches, way more Bobby, in that he's out in front with his kind of faith and people breaking down into prayer groups and being super involved with purpose. And he's brought in a second chaplain with the team, stuff like that. But I couldn't be happier. It's hard to compare, but it's different. It's a little something different. It's kind of that, the way he recruits is different. Bobby was always top 5, top 10 recruiting classes. Same thing with Jimbo, and they got great guys, but he's just doing a little different. Maybe it's just a sign of the times with the portal and what's available, but definitely a little bit different. But yeah, I love it. There's no, I wouldn't trade Mike Norvell for any other coach in college football. I truly think he's the best evaluator in the game, and what him and Derek Ray do with roster management, also unmatched. So I love him, and give me that Fuller D as long as we can keep it.